Welcome to the Etsy Conversations podcast resource episode number 55. This week, I'll be giving you a quick update on new internet sales tax laws. If you live in the U.S., then this episode is for you. I'm not really sure how this affects non-U.S. based sellers, but I'd say ask a tax law or accounting expert in your country about what you need to know if you sell to customers in the U.S. So in June of this year, which is 2018, if you happen to be listening to this later on, the U.S. Supreme Court made a decision that resulted in a number of states updating their requirements for collecting sales tax from businesses that sell online. So gone are the days where you were only required to collect sales tax for states where you or your business had a physical presence. That was known as a physical nexus. Now, everyone wants a piece of the action from your business. So nowadays, however, some states have what is known as an economic nexus laws. This means that it's possible for states to require you as a seller to collect sales tax on taxable sales that are made within their states if you reach a certain revenue and or transaction threshold. These thresholds vary from state to state, and they can range anywhere from $10,000 on the low end to $250,000 on the high end when you're talking about dollars. If we're talking about quantity thresholds, they typically range anywhere from 100 orders or transactions and higher. I think the highest I saw was 200. Yes, so anywhere from 100. And it all depends on individual states. It's all just one big pot of a hot mess, if you ask me. And so to make things even more confusing, they're confusing as it is, but to confuse matters even more, these new laws that were passed are known as internet sales tax laws, which are different from marketplace sales tax laws. When a buyer who lives in a state that has passed a marketplace sales tax law buys a product from you, then Etsy will collect the sales tax from you and pass it on to the state. That is a whole different thing from these new internet sales tax laws that I just mentioned. So I just want you to be aware of that distinction. Internet sales tax laws versus marketplace sales tax laws. So the bottom line is, how does this affect me, or how does it affect you? If you're fortunate enough to meet the requirements for paying internet sales tax to any given state, then just do it. Just be aware that states are not only looking at your Etsy sales. So if you sell on Amazon, if you sell on eBay, if you have your own e-commerce website, also if you even sell in person, so let's say you do craft fairs or you do vendor shows around the country, all those factor in. So all those count toward your thresholds. And once you meet the threshold for a given state, then you may need to pay up. But there's even more. If you sell digital products or food products, those might not be taxable and they might not count towards your thresholds. Like I said, this is one big kind of confusing mess. And maybe I shouldn't call it a mess because it's taxes, but it's confusing. And like I said, different states have adopted it. Different states have different thresholds. It's confusing. Anyway, I said might not regarding digital and food products because, again, you might not need to pay it. Every state has different intricacies and different sets of rules. So the bottom line is, I wanted to inform you about this so that you know, but now that you know about it, you really need to consult with an expert about your own particular situation, just so you don't run afoul of the IRS or the state franchise tax boards or anyone else. Thank you for listening to this episode. Please join me next week when I'll be talking again with Mark Fagiano. He's the founder of TaxJar. I had Mark on the podcast back in 2015. That was episode 86. But so much has changed between then and now, like exactly what I just described. And so Mark's coming back on the podcast, and he's going to help make even more sense of all these tax issues and how the service that he created, TaxJar, can take some of that burden off you when it comes to filing your taxes. If you want to go ahead and check out his service, I would really appreciate it if you used my referral link to check it out. That way I get referral credit, and Mark will know that you came because of the podcast. And you can get there by going to convome.me/taxjar. That's convome.com/taxjar. Again, it's convome.com/taxjar, TAXJAR. And I will be back next week with Mark and more information for you.